Because I am working assessment like in the language education, so so I feel that this kind of like your assessment task is more like problem solving. It's much more complex. But when we approach assessment in the language education, I feel it's completely different. Like you are like students solve some problems, but if you like for example, you want to assess student reading ability or how they approach a reading task, I feel it's quite different process. So I don't know whether you have some opinions on assessment of other areas except for problem solving.
Yeah, that's a really good point. There are a lot of things that are simpler to test. For example, testing whether students know vocabulary in another language. This would be way too hard way to do it. I mean, you know, you might want to have this kind of virtual environment for other reasons, but if your goal is testing vocabulary, or as you say, kind of basic ability to get the main idea out of a piece of text in another language, you wouldn't use this. This would be like using a howitzer a huge cannon to kill a flea. You don't want to do that. Problem solving is something we can't test very easily with a paper and pencil multiple choice test. So that's why we use it for things like problem solving and inquiry. We're talking about doing it there. Now, where you might want to do it is if you had, and I know there's some interest in this, if you're trying to teach not the language per se, but you're trying to teach competence in another culture, that is the ability to behave in a way that is acceptable and not offensive and that is sensitive in a culture that's very different from your own. And in that case, in fact, having a virtual learning environment might be a good way to go in order to try to capture those kinds of complex performances that are necessary when something unexpected happens when you're in another culture, another context. Does that make some sense to you? The United States military is actually very interested in that, and you can guess which cultures they're worried about right now. And so they're very interested in how to use this kind of technique for assessing the cultural competency of soldiers. It's not something you think about usually, but in fact they are very worried about it. Okay, any other comments? Those were really good.